The thrill of the grass continued, page 61. I have an idea, I say, one that's been creeping toward me like a first baseman when the bunt sign is on. What do you think about artificial turf? Humph, he snorts. That's what the strike should be about. Baseball is meant to be played on summer evenings and Sunday afternoons on grass just cut by a horse-drawn mower. And we smile as our eyes meet. I've discovered the ballpark is open. To me, anyway, I go on. There's no one there while the strike is on. The wind blows through the high top of the grandstand, whining until the pigeons in the rafters flutter. It's lonely as a ghost town. And what is it you do there, alone with the pigeons? I dream. And where do I come in? You've always struck me as a man who dreams. I think we have things in common. I think you might like to come with me. I could show you what I dream, paint you pictures, suggest what might happen. He studies me carefully for a moment, like a pitcher trying to decide if he can trust the sign his catcher has just given him. Tonight, he says. Would tonight be too soon? Park in the northwest corner of the lot about 1 o'clock a.m. There is a door about 50 yards to the right of the main gate. I'll open it when I hear you. He nods. I turn and leave. The night is clear and cotton warm when he arrives. Oh my, he says, staring at the stadium, turned chrome blue by a full moon. Oh my, he says again, breathing in the faint odors of baseball, the reminder of fans and players not long gone. Let's go down to the field, I say. I am carrying a cardboard pizza box, holding it on the upturned palms of my hands like an offering. When we reach the field, he first stands on the mound, makes an awkward attempt at a wind-up, then does a little sprint from first to about halfway to second. I think I know what you've brought, he says, gesturing toward the box, but let me see anyway. I open the box in which rests a square foot of sod, the grass smooth and pure, cool as a swatch of satin, fragile as baby's hair. Oh, the man says, reaching out a finger to test the moistness of it. Oh, I see. We walk across the field, the harsh, prickly turf making the bottoms of my feet tingle, to the left field corner where, in the angle formed by the foul line and the warning track, I lay down the square foot of sod. That's beautiful, my friend says, kneeling beside me, placing his hand, fingers spread wide, on the verdant square, leaving a print faint as a veronica. I take from my belt a sickle-shaped blade, the kind used for cutting carpet. I measure along the edge of the sod, dig the point in, and pull carefully toward me. There is a ripping sound, like tearing an old bedsheet. I hold up the square of artificial turf like something freshly killed, while all the time digging into sharp point into the packed earth I have exposed. I replace the sod lovingly, covering the newly bared surface. A protest, I say. But it could be more, the man replies. I hoped you'd say that. It could be. If you'd like to come back. Tomorrow night? Tomorrow night would be fine, but there will be an admission charge. A square of sod? A square of sod 2 inches thick. Of the same grass? Of the same grass, but there's more. I suspected as much. You must have a friend. Who would join us? Yes, I have 2. Would that be all right? I trust your judgment. My father, he's over 80, my friend says. You might have seen him with me once or twice. He lives over 50 miles from here, but if I call him, he'll come. And my friend? If they pay their admission, they'll be welcome. And they may have friends. Indeed, they may. But what will we do with this? I said, holding up the sticky back square of turf, which smells of glue and fabric. We could mail them anonymously to baseball executives, politicians, and clergymen. Gentle reminders not to tamper with nature. We dance toward the exit, rampant with excitement. You will come back. You'll bring others? Count on it, says my friend. They do come, those trusted friends and friends of friends, each making a live green deposit. At first, a tiny row of sod squares begins to inch along toward the left center field. The next night, even more people arrive. The following night, more again. And the night after there is positively a crowd. Those who come once seem always to return, accompanied by friends. occasionally a son or young brother, but mostly men my age or older, for we are the ones who remember the grass. Night after night the pilgrimage continues. The first night I stand inside the deep green door, listening. I hear a vehicle stop, hear a car door close. With a snug thud, I open the door when the sound of soft-soled shoes on gravel tells me it's time. The door swings silent as a snake. We nod, curt greetings to each other. Two men pass me, each carrying a grasshopper-legged sprinkler. Later, each sprinkler will sizzle like frying onions as it wheels a silver sparkler in the moonlight. During the nights that follow, I stand sentinel-like at the top of the grandstand, watching as my cohorts arrive, old men walking across a parking lot in a row in the dark, carrying coiled hoses, looking like the many wheels of a locomotive. Old men who have slipped away from their homes skulk down their sturdy sidewalks, breathing the cool, grassy after-midnight air. They have left behind their sleeping, gray-haired women, their immaculate bungalows, their manicured lawns. They continue to walk across the parking lot, while occasionally a soft wheeze, a nibbling, breathy sound like an old horse might make, divulges their humanity. They move methodically towards the baseball stadium, which hulks against the moon-blue sky like a small mountain. Beneath the tint of starlight, the tall light standards which rise above the fences and grandstand glow purple, necks bent forward like sunflowers, heavy with seed. My other daughter lives in this city, is married to a fan, but one who watches baseball from behind third base. Unlike marrying outside the faith, she has been converted to the third base side. They have their own season tickets, 12 rows up, just to the outfield side of third base. I love her, but I don't trust her enough to let her in on my secret. I could trust my granddaughter, but she is too young. At her age, she shouldn't have to face such responsibility. I remember my own daughter, the one who lives in Japan, remembering her at 9, all knees, elbows, and missing teeth. Remember peering in her room, seeing her asleep, a shower of well-thumbed baseball cards scattered over her chest and pillow. I haven't been able to tell my wife. It is like my compatriots and I are involved in a ritual for true believers only. Maggie, who knew me when I still dreamed of playing professionally myself, Maggie, after over half a lifetime together, comes and sits in my lap in the comfortable easy chair, which has adjusted through the years to my thickening shape, just as she has. I love to hold the lightness of her tongue exploring my mouth gently as a baby's finger. "Where do you go?" she asks sleepily when I crawl into bed at dawn. I mumble a reply. I know she doesn't sleep well when I'm gone. I can feel her body rhythms change as I slip out of bed after midnight. "Aren't you too old to be having a change of life?" she says, placing her toast-warm hand on my cold thigh. I'm not the only one with this problem. "I'm developing a reputation," whispers an affable man at the ballpark. I imagine any number of private investigators following any number of cars across the city. I imagine them creeping about the parking lot, shining pen lights on license plates, trying to guess what we are up to. Think of the reports they must prepare. I wonder if our wives are disappointed that we are not out discoing with frizzy-haired teenagers. Night after night, virtually no words are spoken. Each man seems to know his assignment. Not all bring sod. Some carry rakes, some hoses, which, when joined together, snake across the infield and outfield, dispensing the blessing of water. Others cradle in their arms bags of earth for building up the infield to meet the thick, living sod. I often remain high in the stadium, looking down on the men moving over the earth, dark as ants, each sodding, cutting, watering, shaping. Occasionally, the moon finds a knife blade as it trims the sod or slices away a chunk of artificial turf, and tosses the reflection skyward like a bright ball. My body tingles. There should be symphony music playing. Everyone should be humming, "America the Beautiful." Page 65, continuing. Toward dawn, I watched the men walking away in groups, like small patrols of soldiers, carrying instead of arms the tools and utensils which breathe life back into the arid ball field. Row by row, night by night, we lay the little squares of sod, moist as chocolate cake with green icing. Where did all the sod come from? I picture many men in many parts of the city surreptitiously cutting chunks out of their own lawns in the leafy midnight darkness, listening to the uncomprehending protests of their wives the next day, pretending to know nothing of it, pretending to have called the police to investigate. When the strike is over, I know we will all be here to watch the workouts, to hear the um, recalcitrant joints crackling like twigs after the forced inactivity. We will sit in our regular seats, scattered like popcorn throughout the stadium, and will nod as we pass on the way to the exits, exchange secret smiles, proud as new fathers. For me, the best part of all will be the surprise. I feel like a magician who has gestured hypnotically and produced an elephant from the thin air. I know that I am not alone in my wonder. I know that rockets shoot off in 100 chests. The excitement of birthday mornings, Christmas Eves, and hometown doubleheaders boils within each of my conspirators. Our secret rites have been performed with love, like delivering a valentine to a sweetheart's door in that blue steel span of morning just before dawn. Players and management are meeting around the clock. A settlement is imminent. I have watched the stadium covered square foot by square foot until it looks like green graph paper. I have stood and felt the cool odors of the grass rise up and touch my face. I have studied the lines between each small square, watched those lines fade until they were visible to my eyes alone, then not even to them. What will the players think as they straggle into the stadium and find the miracle we have created? The old-timers will raise their heads like ponies, as far away as the parking lot, when the thrill of the grass reaches their nostrils, and as they dress they'll recall sprawling in the lush fields of childhood, the grass as cool as a mother's hand on a forehead. Goodbye, goodbye, we say at the gate, the smell of water, of sod, of sweat, small perfumes in the air. Our secrets are safe with each other. We go our separate ways. Alone in the stadium, in the last chill darkness before dawn, I drop to my hands and knees in the center of the outfield. My palms are sodden. Water touches the skin between my spread fingers. I lower my face to the silvered grass, which, wonder of wonders, already has the ephemeral odors of baseball about it. The end.